Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it widely so we can keep unpacking the biggest political stories shaking Southern Africa. Today, we turn our attention to a drama brewing right inside ZANU PF's inner circles, a public and rather bold dismissal of criticism, as Information Minister and party heavyweight Christopher Mutsvangwa brushes aside Patrick Chinamasa's remarks on the appointment of businessman Kuda Tagwirei to the party's Central Committee. It's a saga that's mixing politics, money, and power, and the way it's playing out says a lot about the shifting dynamics within Zimbabwe's ruling elite. For those who might not be familiar, Kuda Tagwirei is not your everyday businessman. He's a tycoon whose name has been whispered, and sometimes shouted, in corridors of power, often linked to fuel deals, lucrative state contracts, and allegations of using his proximity to power to expand his empire. To many Zimbabweans, his name symbolizes both the promise and the rot of the country's political-economic system. To some, he's a patriotic businessman investing in local industry. To others, he's the ultimate symbol of state capture. And when it was announced that he had been appointed to ZANU PF's Central Committee, eyebrows shot up immediately. Patrick Chinamasa, himself a long-serving political figure and senior ZANU PF member, was one of the loudest voices expressing concern. He didn't mince his words, raising questions about the appropriateness of appointing someone so closely tied to controversial business dealings into such a strategic political body. Chinamasa hinted that the party should be cautious about its image, especially given the criticisms it faces over corruption and the influence of wealthy elites in its decision-making. His words carried weight, not just because of his position, but because they echoed what many within and outside the party have been thinking. But Christopher Mutsvangwa wasn't having any of it. In a manner that seemed almost dismissive, he waved aside Chinamasa's remarks, suggesting they were unfounded, ill-informed, and perhaps motivated by personal agendas. Mutsvangwa went on to defend Tagwirei's record, painting him as a man of vision whose business ventures have created jobs, driven investment, and supported the government's economic plans. According to Mutsvangwa, the appointment was not just justified, it was necessary, a way of bringing in fresh energy and resources into the party's structures. The tension between these two veteran politicians has now become a talking point far beyond ZANU PF's walls. Political analysts are dissecting every statement, every facial expression, and every piece of body language to figure out whether this is just a small disagreement or the sign of deeper factional cracks within the ruling party. Because make no mistake, this is more than a difference of opinion over one businessman's appointment. This is about the soul of the party, about whether it continues to be shaped by Liberation War veterans and political ideologues, or by the increasingly influential class of politically connected business moguls. On the streets of Harare and in the bustling WhatsApp groups where politics is chewed over daily, opinions are sharply divided. Some people argue that Tagwirei's appointment is a blatant sign of how money has taken over politics. They point out that Zimbabwe's economic collapse has been worsened by crony capitalism, where the state and a small group of connected elites benefit while the rest of the population struggles. They ask, if ZANU PF's leadership is supposed to represent the masses, why is it opening the door to the very people seen as part of the problem? Others, however, see this as a pragmatic move. They argue that in a country under heavy economic sanctions and struggling to attract foreign investment, having someone like Tagwirei, with deep pockets and established networks, could help the party fund its programs and campaigns. They say politics is not a charity game, resources matter, and if Tagwirei can deliver them, then his appointment is a strategic win. Mutsvangwa's dismissal of Chinamasa's concerns has also been interpreted as a show of political muscle. By defending Tagwirei so vigorously, Mutsvangwa is sending a message not just to Chinamasa, but to anyone else who might challenge the growing alliance between the party and its wealthy benefactors. This is about control, about who gets to decide the party's direction, and about how dissent is managed, or, in this case, brushed aside. Meanwhile, Chinamasa is not exactly a minor figure who can be easily ignored. His history in government, his role in managing ZANU PF's public image, and his long-standing loyalty to the party mean his words carry more than just personal weight. The fact that Mutsvangwa publicly shut him down suggests that there is a bold new confidence, or arrogance, depending on who you ask, within the faction that supports Tagwirei. Some insiders believe this could be the opening chapter of a larger internal battle. With the 2028 elections on the horizon and President Emmerson Mnangagwa likely to face both internal and external pressure, the stakes are high. If the party fractures along lines of ideology versus wealth-driven pragmatism, it could lead to shifts in candidate selection, campaign strategy, and even succession planning. The Tagwirei appointment also raises a broader question: what does this mean for Zimbabwe's democracy, or what's left of it? When business tycoons with controversial reputations step directly into political leadership roles, the line between public service and private interest becomes dangerously blurred. And when voices of caution like Chinamasa's are so casually dismissed, it makes observers wonder whether the ruling party is still capable of healthy internal debate, or if it's now a space where money speaks louder than principle. For now, Mutsvangwa has made it clear that as far as he's concerned, the matter is settled. Tagwirei stays in the Central Committee, the party moves forward, and dissenting voices can either get in line or be left behind. But politics is really that simple, and in a country where the undercurrents of factionalism run deep, this may not be the last we hear of the Chinamasa-Mutsvangwa showdown. What is clear is that Zimbabweans are watching closely. Whether they view this as just another round of political theater or as a serious sign of where their country is headed, the appointment, and the way it's been defended, is a reminder that in Zimbabwean politics, power is never static. It shifts, it adapts, and sometimes, it brushes aside even the most seasoned voices to make way for the ones holding the purse strings.